Thanks. Thank you. So, well, not that many people here, but thank you for coming. So welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they call me on the phone, and they ask me, they say, what's your show about? And I say, well, it's about an hour. It's about guitar players, guitar playing, and all things guitaristic. So this is one of the shows from Uptown Bill's. I'm thankful to be here. Uptown Bill's Coffee House, which is right above PATV. In fact, if you're watching this live and you want to come down, there's coffee, there's popcorn, there's a pumpkin pie, and if you want, you can get a bratwurst. So it's been done. So anyway, so this is my show about guitar players and guitar playing, and I just wanted to. I got this terrible cold and everything, and I'm in recovery now, but my ears are plugged and everything. So I've spent the last week or so inventing little worlds of my own inside headphones. So one thing about practicing electric guitars in headphones is nobody else really has to hear it in the house, because I don't live alone, and I make terrible noises sometimes late at night. So anyway, I brought this guitar. This is a Dean Boca, I believe, maybe 10 years old. And I bought it years ago in I had some gig. I think I was playing the county fair or something. And I had this idea of having the bright red guitar, and I would use the wireless system and go out and wander among the people and play my blazing, guitar solos and things. But when I got it, the neck was bowed backwards slightly and the wrong way. And I was terribly disappointed, and I should have sent it back, but I didn't for some reason. So what I did was I put super heavy-duty strings on it, and jazz guitar strings, and I loosened the truss rod, and I tuned it to an open chord so that the neck bowed this way. And I left it that way for about 10 years. Maybe I might be exaggerating. Maybe it was like 9 years, but anyway. It was before 2004, anyway. I know that. Anyway, so So with my brain wasn't working very well. I wasn't getting enough oxygen and stuff like that. So I took the bright idea to take it off the wall and shine it up, and put regular guitar strings on it, readjust the truss rod to the right level, and then do a little adjusting with the saddles. And now it's no longer my slide guitar, which I used to call El Diablo, but it's a midlife crisis guitar. Much cheaper than getting a brand new Corvette, and about the same color. And so anyway, that's my story. But after I did that, I also took this one off the wall, which is a 12-string, which I never quite got to work right because of the intonation. So I took this off the wall, and at the same time, I got these within weeks of each other. And this one never quite played in tune, so I took it to a repairman who threw up his hands in disgust. I never had a good set of 12 strings, so I went out, actually a couple weeks ago, I bought a set of electric 12-string guitar strings, and I strung this one up, and I adjusted the saddles more, which is kind of radically, this one's really long, but actually plays in tune. And so what I've been doing, this is a long story, what I've been doing is a sort of a dialogue between these two guitars in my headphones at home, and I haven't been recording anything, just looping and playing through a mixer and headphones, and so nobody has to know, but I haven't preserved any of this. So my goal is later on this evening, I'd like to do a little bit of that dialogue. But in the meantime, I'll play something else. Okay, not very well. So, anyway, and this, of course, is my Cordoba Gypsy Kings guitar. I play it all the time. I'm just going to play something here. We are entering the holiday season, which is kind of difficult for the professional musician. I play a lot of Christmas music. If you go to go to Hy-Vee, you'll hear this sort of rock and roll Christmas carols sung by people who sound like they have sore throats. So I'm going to play probably my adolescent version. I came up with this when I was probably still a teenager, of the only Christmas carol I really truly like. Thank you. Now, lyrics, of course, I heard a great send-up of this one. It was, oh, come, and bring the manual. It was sung by from the perspective of a fellow who was trying to put together the toys under the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve after the kids had gone to bed. Oh, come, and bring the manual. I think that was, I love that, anyway. So, Bob, did you want to read something? Do you have Bob is he's a part of what they call the loyal crew of Tom's Guitar Show, and a man of letters also. So,
I have a few musical puns.
Oh, good.
I assume we all know the appropriate response to a pun is a groan. So
that's right.
I will listen for those. I wrote a song about small burrowing animals. I decided it was time to go for Baroque.
Baroque. Oh, boy.
If you can't find anyone to sing with, you'll have to do it yourself.
Do it yourself, yeah. Okay.
You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
That's right.
Of course you can tune a fish, just adjust the scales. Some musicians are sharp, which isn't natural. A dead writer of music is decomposing.
That's right, uh-huh.
Should I come back later with a
little
more?
Yeah, I think it's enough for now. So, all right, thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bill.
Anyway, we've been doing these shows here for months now, for quite a while. When did we start? We actually started doing the first one, I think was at the end of last summer. It's been that long. I'm looking over at young Tom over here. He who knows all and sees all.
Where are we doing this show?
Oh, yeah, we're doing this show at Uptown Bill's Coffee House here on the corner of South Dubuque and Lafayette. Very easy to find, just not far from downtown, practically downtown, down by the tracks. And having no down by the tracks here, we have a TV studio and there's a recording studio right up the street. And so it's nice, get that nice train sound. So. Up and down the line. Anyway, never mind. Actually, tell you, I shouldn't confess this, but in the future, I'm working on some Banjo Dave, who comes down from Fayette, and we play together. He bought a banjo-lele, and I restrung an old tenor banjo. I ukeified it. A woman who was talking about how you could ukify your old tenor banjo, because people don't like to play tenor banjos. It's a smaller four-string banjo, so I ukeified it by putting nylon strings. So we're going to do, a Wabash Cannonball as a banjo-lele duet. And we've practiced a little bit. We're going to work it up here, and it will be in a future show. But I'm just talking about trains. But anyway, sorry. That's off the subject. But anyway, we've been doing these shows for some time. I think the first one was the families who play together. And I'd like to do this show again, but there are all these families with their family dynamics and families who play music together. So we'll try to do that one again. But this was over a year ago. I think it was late summer or early autumn, I think, of 2010. So we've been doing this for a while. I want to do a more carefully constructed show in the future. We're still experimenting with it. And I guess we're not going to do a show next month because the TV station will be closed on the last Tuesday. But does anybody have a... Well, I could do it here without the TV, Carrie. I mean, I could do my show here. You'll be open and everything?
Absolutely.
Well, there we go. Next month, the last Tuesday of December, I will do a Tom's Guitar Show without the camera crew, unless Doug wants to show up with a camcorder. You're going to be like in San Diego in the sun or something, aren't you? Going to Hawaii this year, are you? Okay.
Tuesday, December 27th.
December 27th, okay. Well, I'll do it.
We'll be here.
I've got no place to go on Tuesday nights, really.
Bring leftovers, we can have a Christmas potluck.
That's right. There'll probably be some turkey and stuff, and there's always side dishes. All right. The following month, I think that the 31st is the last Tuesday, but the 24th, the week before that, is my birthday. So I'm thinking about, is the 24th the second last Tuesday of the month?
January?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my birthday, man.
We're going to have a show then?
Well, maybe I could do that instead of the last one, and then I could do something special because it's my birthday. I'll be 39. Again. Okay. January 24th. Anyway, do you want to read something, Pete? Or, my brother Peter's going to read something. You can let it.
At least I know enough not to walk in front of the camera.
Well, we all do that around here. We don't care anymore.
So I like your guitar there, T, with the snowman. Now,
Somebody crocheted this for me.
wow.
Yeah, one of my students years ago. I don't know where they are. They're long gone, but
Oh.
Frosty the Snowman remains, or whatever.
Wow. Yeah. So about 11 months ago, early December or mid-December last year, I was at a recording session in the new School of Music, which is in the Old Capitol Mall. And they've got this nifty recital hall. And I came out with my gear, and I hear this guitar music, and I think, I know that sound, I'm looking around, and there's my brother with his guitar, with this snowman hanging off it, strolling around playing, with this giant living teddy bear.
Oh, yeah.
Someone in a teddy bear suit.
Oh yeah, the teddy bear.
Handing
Yeah.
out candy or something like that,
Yeah,
waving to kids. I thought,
Yeah.
That's unusual.
We don't see that every day, but around Christmas,
Not
that sort of
every-
thing happens.
But I guess that's the sort of time you might expect to see my brother with a thingy hanging off his guitar and with a
That's what I do.
interacting with a giant teddy bear in a public place.
That's right. I've worked
In a
with
food
Santa
court.
Claus before, though. I've worked with Santa
Oh, yeah.
many times. So,
Oh yeah.
Santa and I are friends. So.
Yeah, yeah. I hope you've been nice this year.
Is that creepy though? He's making a list and checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty. He sees you when you're sleeping.
Uh-oh.
He knows when you're awake.
Which would be pretty darn late at night.
Yeah.
And-
See me sleeping, it'd be
And
pretty
what
late.
you look at online, he knows now.
That's
Got your IP address.
That's right. I got a little camera on my computer.
Right,
He's
that's-
usually
that's
there
what those-
red-eyed reading something again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyway, so apropos Santa Claus, which is of course a very ancient tradition.
He's a Finn, isn't he? A Sami or something?
Well, they're sure, but I mean, they're illustrations of sort of, costumed, half spirit, half human shaman of some sort, painted on cave walls. Any place that cave walls are painted on, Middle East, Asia. And there are midwinter traditions on every continent except possibly Antarctica. There's not a midwinter tradition, but maybe by now there is. Midwinter happens in June down there. But
Right, yeah.
Anyway.
It's not winter for them anyway, but yeah. I mean,
So I was looking up midwinter traditions, that are not exactly Christmas, and I found some interesting things. So if you can put yourself in Stone Age, it was just before sunrise on a cold December day, some 3,000 years before the coming of Christ. For those crouched at the heart of the mound, it must seem as though light had been banished forever. Then suddenly, a tiny sliver of sunlight strikes the stone slab at the back of the chamber. Slowly it widens, climbs upward, illuminating a number of mysterious carvings, circles and spirals and zigzag patterns. For the people crouched in the center of the great mound of Brug na Boine, which is also called New Grange, every symbol has meaning, but by far the greatest significance is the return of the sun itself. The light that enters the dark womb of the earth brings with it the promise of warmth and life to come. And that's from a book called The Winter Solstice, The Sacred Traditions of Christmas by John Matthews. There's a long list of myths that come from the religions of ancient Western Asia that feature semi-divine figures who had gods as fathers and human women as mothers. And in all these stories, the man-god was conceived in some magical way. He did miraculous things while he lived on Earth. He died painfully for some mystical purpose. And finally, he was resurrected by the gods into some spiritual form to fulfill his destiny in a higher realm. And one of these deities, of course, is Jesus. And the story of his birth is shrouded in myth just as deeply as the ones whose names are only remembered by historians. The Gospels tell the story of his life, but of the four of them, two give highly contradictory accounts of his birth, and the other two only cover the end of his life. None of them mentions the date or even the season of his birth, and December 25th was not observed as the birth date of Jesus until over 300 years after he was supposedly born. Since far back into prehistory, many cultures around the world have held midwinter celebrations. After midsummer, the sun makes a long, slow descent in the sky, reaching its lowest point at the midwinter solstice, and December 25th is the first day that is perceptibly longer. This promises that the darkness of midwinter will eventually yield to spring. People ensured the rebirth of the sun by feasting on special foods and singing seasonal songs, exchanging gifts, and cutting evergreen trees to bring indoors and decorate with lights. As the new religion, Christianity, became more and more popular, these pagan traditions and the date itself were incorporated into Christian practices in the same way that the worship of local gods was converted into the veneration of legendary saints and ancient pagan holy places into churches and monasteries. An even newer religion is one that has been emerging since the early 20th century, a modern form of paganism. The old ways are reimagined for a modern feminist world. Starhawk is a prominent humanist and futurist, and she's best known as a kind of neo-pagan high priestess. I'm going to read an excerpt from her book, The Spiral Dance, which places the midwinter celebration in the context of the Earth's journey around the sun. The sun child is born at the winter solstice, when, after the triumph of darkness throughout the year's longest night, the sun rises again. In witchcraft, the celebration of the goddess are lunar. Those of the god follow the mythological pattern of the wheel of the year. At the winter solstice, he is born as the embodiment of innocence and joy, of a childlike delight in all things. He is the triumph of the returning light. At Brigid, or Candlemas, which is February 2nd, his growth is celebrated as the days grow visibly longer. At the spring equinox, he is the green, flourishing youth who dances with the goddess in her maiden aspect. On Beltane, which is May 1st, their marriage is celebrated with maypoles and bonfires, and on the summer solstice it is consummated in a union so complete that it becomes a death. He is named Summer-Crowned King instead of Winterborn, and the crown is of roses, the bloom of culmination coupled with the stab of a thorn. He is mourned at Lugnasad, August 1st, and at the fall equinox he sleeps in the womb of the goddess, sailing over the sunless sea that is her womb. At Shamain, or Halloween, October 31st, he arrives at the land of youth, the shining land in which the souls of the dead grow young again as they wait to be reborn. He opens the gates that they may return and visit their loved ones, and rules in the dream world as he too grows young, until at the winter solstice he is again reborn.
Well, thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Well, one thing for sure is when it gets dark like it does early, it's nice to bring some green stuff in the house and light some candles and stuff. I every year, it'll be the 10th of December this year at the old Capitol Center. Actually, what we're talking about when I was playing with the teddy bear last year, this year I think I'm working with Santa Claus, and I'll be on the 3rd of December to kick off the holiday season at the old Capitol Center. And the week after, on the 10th, I will bring some of my students to do a little concert. It's a winter concert. And it's not really a Christmas concert because, I mean, they're Hindu kids and Jewish kids and people from China and stuff. So it's just a winter concert, and it's all nice to. I think it's regardless of people's religion, it's just a nice time of year to have a party. So we're going to do our thing, and that'll be on the 10th of December at the old Capitol Center between 2 and 4. If you want to see me, I probably won't wear my Santa hat this year, but I will have my snowman. And it's an elf hat, really.
That's right, you were wearing an elf hat.
I was wearing an elf hat, yeah, I was.
I blocked that out.
You probably blocked that out of your memory, okay, yeah. It's embarrassing to see somebody you're related to wearing an elf hat. And,
You were working, I was working, that's all
I was working. I mean, they pay me for this, man. It's all good. Anyway, so we're going to do a little Christmas concert. So, I like this little Christmas carol that I was playing. This is the Cherry Tree Carol. It's an Appalachian one. I think the story comes out of the Apocrypha. And it's about Mary and Joseph going to take the census. The census never happened. We know that there was no census. Okay, it's a myth. But in the story that they're going down to Bethlehem, and she's with child. She's pregnant and feeling uncomfortable, and they pass a cherry tree. I don't know if they have cherry trees in Israel or Palestine, but anyway, so Joseph wouldn't get her any cherries, and so Jesus, I guess, asked God from the womb to give her some cherries. So the tree bent down and gave her some cherries. It's a kind of an odd story, really. But I don't sing these things, I just play them. So I'm just going to play it. So, very simple Appalachian song. Thank you. So every year I have to come up with my little Christmas programs and stuff, and one song I've avoided all this time, and I continue to avoid it, is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. However, I've noticed I actually had a student who wants to sing and play guitar, and I want him to come down and play the open mic here at Uptown Bill's, which is on Thursday nights usually now, isn't it? Yes. Thursday nights. Started with 7 o'clock, okay. Which is something worthwhile to come to and a good place to get experience. But young fellow, he's an interesting fellow. He's had 5 years active duty in the Army, and he was in Afghanistan. And now he's back. He's going to college, and very, very muscular sort of fellow. We have a little cat who likes really muscular military kind of guys. She just go up there and wrap her tail around his leg kind of suggestively during his lesson. But anyway, so I was trying to get him to just pick a song to do, because he was in a choir when he was a kid. He was in high school choir, and he's been playing guitar for a while, and he's learned, he can change his chords on time and gets a pretty good sound going. So I was trying to put the two together. I said, well, you should learn a song. And we're trying to find we're talking about One Tin Soldier. One, go ahead and hate your neighbor. And maybe he'll do that one. But I was going to try to get him in my winter concert. And the song he chose was Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And it's in my Christmas fake book, and I'd actually never played it before, but it has distinctive kind of chord changes. There's a structure to it that's distinctive. So as I say, I don't sing much. You've heard me sing, so you know why. There are a lot of complaints at home when I do sing. So, but if I do instrumentals, you have to you can recognize the song because I put the melody and the chords and the bass line together. And I don't know if I'm going to do that. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, but anyway, never mind. Anyway, I'm not plugged in. I didn't want to be plugged. I know. Anyway,
I don't think I've ever heard it.
really.
I'm kind of a purist,
You can't really say you never heard it, but see, I think that's a blessing. If you haven't heard it, then you don't have that in there. It's one of those things, where you can try.
You can never unhear it.
You can never unhear it. You can try bleaching your ears, but it doesn't work. Yeah, he's tried it. Anyway, I've heard a lot of things I wish I hadn't, and I've seen things too. The things I've seen. Anyway, let's see what it sounds like. Let's turn this one off, and turn this one on, and see what we have. Boy, it's loud, isn't it, huh? This thing, it's one loud guitar. I've been getting a great kick out of this, but I have as I say, I have two of these Dean guitars. They're fairly cheaply made in Korea, and these are some years old. But sorry, I'm tuning while I'm talking. But I've had a long love affair with a 12-string guitar, and this is one of my many steps in trying to find 12-string nirvana. This is the one I got before I got the Taylor 12-string, which is a big jumbo body acoustic electric, very expensive, not quite good enough. I thought this one would do, and didn't. But we were talking about this before the show. It's called GAS, Guitar Acquisition Syndrome. You're always going for this sound. And if my life is based on one joke, it's a joke. How many guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb? 101. One to actually screw it in, and 100 to stand around saying, I can do that. So if I hear something that I kind of like, and I've been hearing a lot of 12-string guitar lately, it's making a comeback. But if I hear something I kind of like, I want to say, I can do that. And if I don't have the equipment, I need to get the equipment. And I'm really glad. I know people have this problem with compulsive gambling and, cocaine, things like that. And I'm not, I'm a like one big strong cup of coffee in the morning kind of guy. It's not that expensive, although it's not that cheap. But it's an addiction, I'll admit. Coffee is good for me, I guess. But the guitar thing is pretty serious. I've got a serious case of it, and I would say I've been so been sort of researching lately, and years ago I had a Guild F512, which was the jumbo body Guild guitar, 12-string with a mother pearl inlay up and down the neck, and the gold tuners, and it was the top of the line. There are pictures of John Denver holding one, and kind of big on him. But I had one, and I had a terrible flying experience coming back from California, and when I opened the case up, it was wet on the inside, and it just never was the same. There's a lot of pressure on it, on a 12-string. I took the pressure off, the strings down and everything, but so it was never the same, never played in tune. I sent it back to the Guild company, which was still in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and they worked on it, and I had various repair people work on it, and it was never quite right. And then one guy told me it would be easier to build a new guitar from scratch than to fix the structural damage of what was going on in here. So, and they didn't make them anymore anyway. So all these years I've been trying to get back there, because I had these magical moments with that guitar. So, I like to read on the internet and everything, and Fender bought Guilds some years ago and kind of killed it, but then they've been building Guilds again. And now they're building, also I had an F50, blonde, big blonde guitar, same shape, jumbo body, big jumbo mother of pearl, all blonde, spruce and maple, very heavy, amazing sound. And I had that one. I sold that one because I needed money for something, keep my little guitar shop open. And I didn't want to sell it, but that's the only one the guy wanted to buy. And I sold it, and I still regret it. So I had these two big Guilds, and that was a big part of my life. It was a magical moment, and I got to play these two big Guilds and these gigs. And, well, anyway, they're building them again, both of them. And I read a review. Some guitar player reviewed the F512. And what he said about it was everything I remember about it. Because most 12 strings get kind of tinny on the bottom, This one doesn't because it's so big. And in front of the F50 is everybody as nice as it ever was, too. And there's only one thing standing between me and the Guild F512. And that's about $3,000. So... I don't know where they're made. They're made in the USA, but I don't know if they're made in Nashville or Montana. Oh. Really, Guild? Really? Corona. Well, thank you. I'll look into that. They can't hear you at home probably, but anyway, I'm sorry. That's my story. Look, Ma, no hands. Sorry. Thank you. Mr. Skopinski, sir, do you have something to read for us? This is Jim Skopinski. Come on up here, read us a... Excuse me. Man. Whatever it was that tried to kill me, it's... Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I enjoyed your playing just now, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
This relates to Christmas, I guess, in that it is based on originally a Romanian Christmas carol. The text, as you'll see, we wouldn't typically think of it as a Christmas kind of a text. I understand you're going to have a young Romanian guitar player?
There's a young man named Andrei, who's 6 years old, and a little fellow with big brown eyes, with a small guitar, and he and I are going to play a Romanian Christmas carol together at the mall on the 10th of December. I'm hoping he's like, yeah, I mean, you know, even I used to be kind of cute, I think, a long time ago, but he's the cutest one of the whole batch, so yeah, we're going to put him up front. He's Eastern Orthodox, by the way, so anyway.
Okay, so what I have to read here is the text to a choral piece by the great Hungarian composer Bartók, Béla Bartók. The title of the piece is Cantata Profana, and it is based on the text of a Romanian Christmas carol, and Bartók translated into Hungarian, which was Bartók's language, of course, and so the text is Bartók's Hungarian translation. I have an English translation that was created by Robert Shaw, the great American choral instructor. This work was written in the early 1930s, somewhere between 30 and 34. It's the most important choral work that Bartók did. He's not necessarily known for his choral music, but this is a pretty ambitious full-scale work. There's actually a recording of Bartók himself reading the text to this, and I've heard that recording. The final words of the text in Hungarian is they are "Csak tiszta forrásból," which means only from a pure source, and you'll understand that when I read the text. But sometimes that's taken to be Bartók's personal motto, because he was a great folklorist and actually discovered the rapidly disappearing Hungarian folk music that lied outside the urban areas where the gypsy versions of it kind of predominated. And it was actually rapidly dying, and he discovered it and is pretty responsible for preserving it and documenting it. So some people say that the only from a pure source is his, getting to the pure source of the roots of Hungarian music. I also think it could be considered more broadly, maybe getting to the deep wisdom that's beyond cultural conditioning, maybe sacred wisdom, beyond what civilization teaches, but something deeper and beyond that. So this is the text of the Cantata Profana, the 9 Enchanted Stags. Once there was an old man, one who treasured 9 sons, fair and sturdy, seed of his own body, 9 fair, sturdy fellows. Not of work he taught them, neither trade nor farming, plowing not nor sowing, not of handling horses nor of care of cattle. Only this he taught them, to wander the hills and vales, hunting the noble stag. Through forest a roving, hey-ho, a hunting they bounded. All 9 sons, sturdy brothers all, through forest a roving they hunted. Farther still they wandered, they hunted on and on and on. Still longer and longer, until they came to a haunted bridge deep in the forest. Wondrous stags had crossed this bridge. Heedless, on they followed over the bridge. Not knowing where they wandered, they became lost in forest shadows. And all were changed into stags. Slender stags, enchanted, roving through the forest. At last the loving father could abide no longer. He took his rifle and set forth to find them, his 9 fair children. On he roamed and encountered the enchanted bridge. There he found the trail of 9 stags. Swiftly their trail he followed. Finally reaching a cool wellspring, he encountered the 9 stags. He aimed his rifle at the largest stag. But the largest stag, dearest of all the sons, called in answer to his father, "Dearest loving father, aim not at thy children, or surely our antlers must pierce thee and pin thee, must hammer and hurl thee, crashing valley to valley and boulder to boulder and mountain to mountain. They will dash thee, smash thee, slash thee. Not of dust will survive of thee." Then the loving father called unto his children, grieving, pleading, "O my dearest loved ones, O my darling children, come, O come and follow me home now. Come now, your sweet mother awaits you. Come with me, my children. Your mother stands waiting, lonely, loving, grieving, all alone. The lanterns are lit, the tables are set, the glasses are filled. As glasses stand waiting, so does your mother stand waiting. As the glasses are brimming with wine, so too your mother's eyes are brimming with tears." Yet again the leader, dearest of all children, called aloud and answered thus to his father, "Dearest loving father, go back, go home now, to our lonely dear sweet mother. But we cannot go. We shall never return because our antlers cannot pass thy doorway. But only roam in the forest groves, and our slender bodies never enclosed can wander, but only where the wind and the sun, and our dainty legs never stand on the hearthstone, but only on leaves can tread, and our mouths no longer drink from crystal glasses, but only mountain springs. Once there was an old man, one who treasured 9 sons, fair and sturdy. Not of work he taught them, neither trade nor farming, but only to wander as 9 huntsmen a-hunting. And farther, farther on they wandered, and were all changed into stags, there in the forest shadows. And so their antlers cannot pass through doorways, only roam the forest groves. Their slender bodies never enclosed can wander, but only where the wind and the sun. Their dainty legs can never stand on the hearthstone, but only tread the leafy mold. Their mouths no longer drink from crystal glasses, but only from clear springs. Csak tiszta forrásból. So that's
Very good. That's good. Hey, is Tom out there somewhere? The other Tom? You want to read something?
Do I have time?
We have maybe like 9 minutes, maybe 8. Sorry, it was just intro.
Each year I write a holiday story, and I picked out the one that's been most popular. I've been doing this for about 15 years. And you can find these on the Uptown Bill's Facebook page, some of them, and I'll add more as Christmas approaches.
It's nice, 15 years, habitual offender. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Listen.
Mary Rose was old enough to doubt Santa that year, but she was still young enough to believe in the magic of Christmas. So when she opened the front door and saw the Christmas tree, it seemed perfectly natural. She didn't ask where the tree came from or why it was there. She simply said, "Dad, the tree is here." When I didn't reply, Mary Rose spoke up again. "The tree is here, Dad," she said. "I think I'm going to need help bringing it in." So I went out to help her. We never did find out how that tree got to our door. There was a card with it, but it wasn't signed, and none of the neighbors had seen anyone leaving a tree at our door. As we hauled the tree into the living room, I could tell this wasn't going to be any ordinary Christmas. But I had no idea what lay ahead. Besides being a bit of a skeptic, Mary Rose had grown quite outspoken. She had started politely confronting people with fur coats, and she suggested to parents who tethered their children that leashes belonged only on pets. She was also growing into a fine young feminist. Once, when I mixed up the main characters in the Song of Hiawatha, she assured me that really wasn't such a bad thing. In the original story, it's Hiawatha who carries Minnehaha across the creek. But in a column I wrote, it appeared that Minnehaha had carried Hiawatha. "That's okay, Dad," Mary Rose said. "Minnehaha was a pretty strong woman. I'm sure she could have carried Hiawatha across the creek." Mary brought this same mixture of awe and sensibility to the nativity pageant at our church. This was an annual affair which brought all kinds of children into a recreation of the story of Jesus' birth. The easiest part was finding someone to play Mary. For some reason, there were always plenty of little girls who wanted to be that. Hardest part was always finding Joseph. There must have been a shortage of little boys during those years. Finding a Joseph was like looking for a lost contact lens on the gymnasium floor. There seemed to be little hope. And even when you found a Joseph, bizarre things might happen. Just the year before, Joseph had abandoned his post at Mary's side and run out of the church. It turned out that he had been batted one too many times by the angel behind him. He just left. In between these two central roles, there were the animals, shepherds, and wise men. There were always enough children to play these parts, but there was a lot of negotiation in the details. For example, there were plenty of little cruisers who wanted to play animals, many getting a second chance to wear their Halloween suits, or pajamas that looked like pigs or bears. But I wasn't prepared for the mother who asked if her son could wear his Ninja Turtle costume. I don't think there were any ninjas at Bethlehem, at least that year, I told her.
Could be.
"He's willing to compromise," she said. "I've talked with him, and he said he'd skip wearing the shell if he could be in the pageant." Shepherds weren't that difficult to find either, but they never seemed to be able to keep their beards on, and of course the sheep always wandered off. And the wise men? Well, this was going to be the year. "I want to be one of the wise guys," Mary Rose announced. "I think all three were men," I responded. "How do you know? Were you there?" she said. "One of them could have been a girl. Besides, you don't have enough boys." She had a point there. I asked her what she knew about them, and she said, well, each of them brought a gift to Jesus. One brought gold, another brought Frankenstein, and one brought a mirror. I laughed and tried to give her a little more information, but she wasn't listening. Her skeptical side had already framed a question. "Dad, why would that one wise guy bring the baby Jesus a Frankenstein? That doesn't sound very nice." I tried to explain it wasn't a Frankenstein, but Mary Rose had moved on. "So, are you going to let me be one? Can I be the wise woman with the mirror?" "Okay," I said, "but you'll have to wear a beard." "That's great," she said. "Afterwards, I can shave it off like you do yours." So, that Christmas, we had a nativity pageant with the usual people, plus a Ninja Turtle without his shell. And when it came to the final scene, Jesus was visited by two wise guys and a wise woman with a mirror. Thank you.
That's very nice. That's pretty good. It's funny how you, when you're young, you hear these things, and you get the sounds of it, but you don't exactly know what the words meant. So, it's pretty funny, really. That's about it, really, for this month. But Tom's Guitar Show is every Tuesday at 6 at PATV, Channel 18. And downstairs, usually, at PATV. Happy holidays.